let's talk a little bit about some of the psychological interventions, because we already talked a lot about exercise and all that stuff on our channel. Would be, I mean, maybe we'll get into that as well, but there's a few chapters about your thoughts and your emotions and how that can affect pain perception. Can you just tell us, I mean, you did tell us a little bit already about it, but can you tell us why our emotions and thoughts are so tied to the pain that we perceive?
Well, let me back it up and start with beliefs, because that is what triggers our thoughts. So there's a model that I teach students where your beliefs, how you see the world. So if you believe that pain can never go away, or I can never get better than where I am today, that's a belief, right? It's a negative belief that you have about the world. Those beliefs then trigger your thoughts, and we call those automatic thoughts. So I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to get out of this horrible pain state. Then my thoughts are going to be very negative. So when I wake up, oh, today is a bad day, just like every day, I'm going to have this negative thought. Then that negative thought, because I'm doing a circle here, kind of visually. So beliefs up here, assumptions about the world, trigger our thoughts. Those thoughts then trigger our emotions. So if I'm thinking it's going to be a bad day, well, how am I going to feel? I'm going to feel crummy and sad, maybe depressed, maybe hopeless. Okay. Then those emotions trigger the way I behave. So then I'm going to go, I'm just going to stay in bed. I'm not going to, could call anybody, and maybe we isolate more and we don't do the things that we normally do. And then that all affects our perception. And where is pain? It's the perception in your brain. So all of these things, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, behavior, impact your perception. And so we have to look at all parts of that circle. You can intervene with your emotions by doing things to help your emotional state. You can intervene with your behavior, and we'll talk about each of these. But mainly what we start with is looking at this broad concept of beliefs. You have to have some hope, and you have to find some meaning in pain at times. You have to be able to not make always negative assumptions about the world. Like, doctors are out to get me, or nobody's going to help me. There's never a person in my life who can help me. If you have that negative belief, you really have to work on changing your beliefs. And I think in the book, I put a note here that I identified 10 of those. No, those were the thoughts, not the beliefs, but there's a lot of beliefs that I identified in the book that really lead you to a negative thought state. So the thoughts that often come then are, nothing can be done to make my pain better. I can't cope with my pain. I have no control. I'm not going to make it. My body is betraying me. It's defective. It isn't fair. Well, where's that going to take you? That's not going to take you to a positive state of your emotions. I can't do anything. I'm a burden. A lot of people feel they're a burden, so they isolate. I'm weak. I'm useless. All of those type of thoughts then, and especially what we know is that catastrophic thoughts. So those things like, I can't do anything, it's going to be a horrible day. Those are what we call catastrophic, because it's like an all or nothing. It's just going to be terrible. We know that those type of thoughts turn up the volume on pain. So literally changing your thought process to something like, yeah, I hurt this morning, but I can get out of bed if I take my time, or today maybe is going to be a better day than yesterday. I'm not being unrealistic, but I'm making my thought more positive, more hopeful, and more in the direction of, I am going to be able to do something about my pain, right? So if you begin to change your thoughts, then what's going to happen is your emotions are going to change. So the more positive my thoughts are of, it might take time. I'm going to try this, and, it hurts at first, but I know I'm going to get better. So, today I need to be grateful, and there's a whole chapter on gratefulness and what gratefulness does. And when you have grateful thoughts, it actually absolutely turns down the volume on pain. So then when you change your thoughts, you can also change your emotions. So if you're depressed, you're going to have more pain. Depression causes pain. We know that in our depressed patients, in my depressed patients, their pain indexes went way up. We know that if you treat the depression, the pain goes down. Pain can also cause depression, right? So you can be in a lot of chronic pain, and dealing with it day in and day out can cause you to feel depressed. So you have to work on the depression. And one of the best things that you can do to make your pain better is to treat your depression. So looking at that, to treat sadness and grief. If you're going through grief reactions, your pain is probably going to increase during those negative states. So what you want to do is work through those negative states, but then work on ways to incorporate more positive emotions into your life. And then the same is true with the behavior that you do. We don't always feel like doing something. So when you're in chronic pain, you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to go out and meet somebody for dinner because you're just not sure how you're going to feel. But if you actually activate yourself to do it, all the research shows that you will actually feel better by making yourself do it. So these are things that they take a little time to work on. You have to work on your thoughts. You have to work on your emotions. You might have to go see a mental health professional like someone like me and get some work and help. But this is what really seems to work with people, is looking at your thoughts, looking at your emotional states, and then acting in ways that are positive, where your emotions will catch up later and will actually have an increase in terms of making you feel better and decreasing the volume on that pain perception.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, that's really good. I love it's like a neuroscience lesson.
Yeah, it's not hard though to think about. If you really
It's
just
not.
common sense,
Yeah.
the way I think is going to affect the way I feel, is going to affect the way I behave, and it's going
Yeah.
to impact the way I see the world, my perceptions.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and I'm into all that stuff too. I like neuroplasticity and stuff like that, and how you can rewire your
Yeah.
brain by repeating certain behaviors and certain thoughts, and working on even becoming aware of your belief systems. And I think the same thing that we do to achieve our goals or to become a certain kind of person, we should be applying the same thing to how we manage our pain.